Hello everybody and welcome into another edition of Inside Pitch here at the St. Louis Post-Dispatch. I'm Ben Frederickson alongside Jeff Gordon. Probably our last edition of Inside Pitch for a while, Gordo. We're out of Cardinals baseball to talk about sooner than fans certainly hoped, but we wanted to talk about another team in the division because if we had made projections on our first Inside Pitch, we probably would not have picked the Milwaukee Brewers to be the team that comes out of the NL Central and makes it to the NLCS. But here they are. They've won 11 straight in their first NLCS since 2011. And it's fair to ask, what do you make of these Brewers? Can the Cardinals learn something from these Brewers? Because I don't think many of us thought they would topple the Cubs especially. It was kind of viewed to be maybe a two-team race between the Brewers and the Cubs, but I think everybody would have picked the Cubs to go further than Milwaukee, but here they are.
Yeah, I would say the number one thing to take away from the Brewers, it's their team strength, their bullpen. And why would you do that if you're the Cardinals? Because you have the ability to build a similar type bullpen, which should be bulletproof. Every guy in your bullpen, if you're the Cardinals, should be able to pitch in a tight spot. You've got that type of ability. You've got a lot of surplus. That's where you've got to get. That was a huge problem for the team this year. You saw how it hurt the Cardinals. You also saw what a powerful bullpen did for the Brewers. You've got the ability to have every guy out there capable of pitching in tough spots. Go out and do that, because let me tell you what Milwaukee's done to the extreme of minimizing the value of the starting rotation is amazing.
Man, talk about some numbers for this Brewers pitching staff. And I was one of the ones saying, I don't know if they have enough starters. I don't know if the rotation's going to make it. Well, they just kept supplementing the bullpen. They got some okay starts, but really they were just quick with the hook and really built things off the bullpen. Milwaukee's pitching staff held Nolan Arenado, Trevor Story to a combined 2 runs and 14 hits, along with that loaded Rockies lineups. 28 innings in this series. I think Colorado scored in one of them.
Right.
They also had 2 shutouts and a 146 average. The Rockies did against the Brewers pitching staff, which is remarkable. Certainly didn't think the Brewers pitching staff could do that at the beginning of the season. The other thing I think the Cardinals can look at and maybe have some sort of regret is how Milwaukee added throughout the season. Both teams made their preseason moves. The Brewers obviously got rich on Christian Yelich. The Cardinals had interest in Christian Yelich. He wasn't available at the time. They ended up getting Marcell Ozuna. Clearly, Yelich looks to be the better player, at least this season. He's probably going to win National League MVP. But the Brewers didn't stop. They went out and added Mike Moustakas. They added the second baseman Shoop, and those guys came up in big moments at times in the second half of the season. I think when the Cardinals kind of stood back at the trade deadline and said, okay, we're not going to blow up this season. We're maybe going to look at kind of straddling the fence a little bit. The Brewers went, in their definition, all in, and it paid off. Look at how Moustakas has played in the postseason.
Yeah, it goes back to you talk about the winner, spending money on Lorenzo Cain when they already had a really good outfield, but the ownership said, look, if other teams are going to sit back, we're going to go for it. And the payoff has been tremendous. They fast-forwarded a rebuild by a couple of years through the aggression, started in the winter, kept going through the season, and ownership commitment, something that Ken Bill DeWitt and his crew, can they look at that and match it going forward?
You hear the Cubs say they need to be more urgent. Theo's not happy in Chicago with the way this ended. The Brewers do not look to be going anywhere. It might be time for the Cardinals to adjust their model, aim a little bit higher if they want to win this division, or else you're coming down to playing for a wild card game. It hasn't worked out for them the past 3 years. We'll have more coverage of the Cardinals all off season and a couple more inside pitches coming to you when news breaks as well. For Jeff Gordon, I'm Ben Frederickson. We'll talk to you next time.